Hawa Komara, head coach Tammi Reiss, and Sophia Vital. Coach, when you get settled, just an opening statement on the win.
Every game we play against St. Joe's is a barn burner, so tonight was no different. Kudos to St. Joe's and Cindy Griffin. I hope she gets back soon. She was out tonight, so obviously they didn't have their head coach on the road, which isn't an easy feat. So we knew tonight was going to be a battle, and it came down to two things: discipline and toughness to play that team, and that's a good team. And when you end a game with 3 stops in a row, we call that a kill, that's toughness. And that won us the game tonight. So kudos to our team defensively for executing the game plan, and then kudos offensively for having a balanced attack and really everyone doing their job when they needed to do it. So it just was one of our most complete games on both sides of the ball. We have not played this well. Again, I say this with all due respect to our other opponents, but St. Joe's is a really good team. There's a reason they were playing for the double bye tonight, and our kids were ready to deny that double bye tonight for at least one more game. So just really, really proud of our squad.
Coach, when I ran into you this morning, I asked you what you were expecting about this game, and you talked about how strong offensively St. Joe's is and how strong their roster is, similar to yours, where you like to retain talent for an extended period of time. And you talked about that your team was going to have to really step up, especially on offense. All 5 starters finished with double digits. That seems like a pretty big step up and a big team performance there. Just talk about, in terms of the offense, how they showed out today.
I think our team really shared the ball today. They didn't force shots where there was a couple points in the offense where you always get that, but for most of the game, we got each other shots analytically where our kids are best at. Awa on the block, either block, whether it's a turnaround either shoulder, a fadeaway, a little jump shot, Honey on the block and or 3-pointers, Sophie penetrating, getting to the rim. Everyone did their job. The one player offensively that I was really proud of today was AD, because normally she won't take shots. She's a little tentative. Today she took open shots, whether she made them or missed them. She took the ball to the rack. And so when you have 5 kids on the floor that can score, it's a little bit different. They can't scheme against you. And tonight, when people were hitting shots, they couldn't double, they couldn't scheme. They had to play straight up, kind of like we had to at the end of the games once their bench started hitting shots. So it just was an overall great performance offensively by our squad, not forcing things and having trust in each other that they all could score.
Sophia, what did you see there on that layup? You took it to the rack with the right hand to finally take the lead right at the end there. What did you see on that play?
I was just thinking, I work on this layup all the time. I work on this shot. I'm just gonna take it to the basket, use my hesitation move, and just get by the big.
Sophia, defensively, seemed like every time I looked up, you had a steal. What was going? What were you seeing on the court today?
The game plan was whoever I was guarding, or I had number 3 or number 1, I was going to be major helping on the post players because they have really good post players. I was just really reading and timing up when to go double and when to just be in the gaps.
How do you navigate that final minute? It seems like it was pretty chaotic. When you have some calls that don't go your way, or you're down there defending for so long, what are you doing to kind of control that?
Well, I think I did make one error tonight. I should have called a different out-of-bounds play or called a timeout when I didn't like the way we cut off of the line segment on the second one after they fouled. So that's on me. That's not on them. I really should have called a different out-of-bounds play to change it up because they had to foul. And I really did think Honey got fouled. I thought she got bodied out of bounds, that got pushed and it was not called. Or I would have called the timeout had I thought he wasn't going to call the foul. But it's really, in the past, a lot of times as a coach, because I'm very emotional, sometimes I would not stay positive with them, or I'd be exasperated when a call didn't go our way or we made a mistake down the stretch. And today I felt the coaching staff, the players, when we huddled, when they kept calling timeouts, we were locked in. We were going to get a stop. They executed the game plan, every switch, everything we diagrammed in that huddle. We were very relaxed. Even Honey was a little emotional. We got the stop. She got tied up. Today was next play mentality. Go make another play. to make up for what we didn't get. Don't lose your head on what happened. And I think as a team collectively, we were able to do that down the stretch. Where in the beginning of the year we could not do that. We folded like a house of cards in every game. And today we finally did it against, again, I'll say this, a really good St. Joe's team. And I respect the hell out of that team because they play the game like it's supposed to be played. They're tough, they compete, they're just Philly kids. They play hard, and that's their culture. So that's why I'm proud of these girls, because they punched them. And we did it in the A10 tournament last year, and we did it again this year, even though our 2 seasons we're not in the same boat as we quite were last year. And so just really proud of our squad for that, for keeping our calm, cool, our poise, going down the stretch, and making the plays that had to be done to win.
Obviously, you really contained their outright best player, Ziegler, but on the offensive side of the ball, it seemed almost every single point you scored was on. It's a tough turnaround jumper. How did you prepare for that this game? Did you prepare to just play really tough down in the post?
Yeah, I prepare for that game because I come off not like 2 games that were not really good for me, George Mason especially, and I had that chip on my shoulder kinda, and I wanted to be here for the team, especially because I know that they have good players, especially post players, and offensively and defensively I wanted to be here. And offensively I work on that. I remember last night I went with MK and we work on that pull-up jumper, the turnaround jumper, and I work on that because I wanted to be present for my team, because it's been 2 games that I'm not really here, and I wanted to make that statement that I'm here for you guys, so I prepared for that.
Tammi, obviously every win's big, but did this one feel a little different?
Yeah, because like she said, it's a great team. They're tough, and it's always a good competition against them. It's always like a rivalry game vibe, and we're here, and it feels great. We feel good for sure.
I'm not gonna make you repeat the message today. It seemed like you guys had a clear message at the end when you came up as a team. What was behind that today?
We say that in here to start, and it's funny, Dolly started it, and Sophie P, if you can imagine that coming out of her mouth, it's beep, 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 and I can't repeat what we say, but it's just, that's the level of toughness we expect, and that's what we want to do to our opponent, mess them up, I can say that, mess them up, and that was the clear message today, is you better be tough when you're going into this game. And if you don't have, it wasn't just physical toughness, the emotional toughness to go shot for shot. It's like a heavyweight bout. They punch, you gotta punch back. You can't get knocked down. And that's all our games against them. So if you can stay emotionally tough, and it's the team that does that usually wins this game. And there are days where they're tougher than us, and there've been games where we're tougher than them. But today, again, I've not had a moment like this year that I've been this proud of a team. And I came into the game because we didn't have great practices. We really didn't. We had a great scout team, but it was kind of coming into a game. You're like, God, I hope they show up today. And then from shoot around this morning, they were locked in. So I felt pretty at ease. But first quarter, when we were in it and going tied into halftime, I knew we were ready to play. Third quarter's our nemesis. If you look at all our games, we usually go down big in the third quarter. It could be 12, it could be 14, it could be 16. I think we went down maybe 8 or 7 today, and then we fought back, and then we cut it to 3. So that third quarter didn't decimate us. It kept us in striking distance where, we were able, again, shot for shot. They make a big play, we come back, we hit a big 3. We went blow for blow, and then it came down to execution in the last minute and a half.
Sophia, this team is 7-2 in your last 9, and now you've beaten a team who's ahead of you in the standings for the first time. What have you all found here, or what are you finding?
I think that we're just going out there playing together way more than we were in the beginning of the season. Like, we're getting people shots where they need to get their shots, like Hawa in the paint, dominating the paint, Sophie P making sure she gets her 3s off, and then when me and Inez are in the game, just pushing pace and really attacking the basket. I think it's been really important that we finally just come together and are really playing together.
Sophia, this is your 4th straight game hitting double digits, your 5th in your last 6. And I mean, since the start of conference play, your impact on the offensive side of the ball for this team has been monumental. Can you talk about just where your own personal game is at right now and what has allowed you to take this jump to where you're hitting 10, 15, even 20 points in a game?
I think it's just the coach is just telling me to be more aggressive. Like when I try to attack the basket and look to make the pass before I even look for my own shot, like they get mad at me. So just being more aggressive and looking for my shot first before I find anybody else. And it'll get other people open if I just look for my shot first. That's my mentality.
She won't say this though. You know, she's been in the gym every morning with Coach Faye, the guard coach, putting work in, and after practice, putting work in, working on her shot. All last summer, working on her shot. Again, player development is huge, and when you have kids that they ask the coach, please meet me before practice, please, and she's putting the time and the work in, and Awa does the same thing, not just before or after practice, comes back at night with MK. That our kids believe in player development, and so when you watch Awa's growth from freshman to senior year now, and now you're watching Soph's growth jump from freshman to sophomore, that's kudos to them, wanting to live in the gym and develop their game. And so where she was a pass first point guard now, not so much anymore. You know, we're trying to get her to be a combo where she can score, and now you got to play her straight up. You really do. And so that's a credit to both of them. They get in the gym and they work on their game.
Coach, it seemed like in the first half, down low, you guys were kind of getting beat on the back door on those double teams on Ziegler with Stokes coming in. Did you address that at halftime? Because I think it only happened once in the second half. Was that something that was addressed?
We did. They were going to send a cutter. It screwed us up when it didn't come from the weak side. It came from strong side. And we took her through and then came on the double after you take the cutter through. And then our midline help wasn't there. If we did go early, we had to give up the skip. And so we addressed that. Transition D, there was a couple they got out on us. We addressed that, and we addressed the double. When we go and where our help comes from. So that was something we did address in halftime.
On the topic of team culture, you were talking a little bit earlier in the year about how it was a little bit frustrating at times. You were trying to find it, trying to get everyone bought in. Does this represent a step in that direction? I wonder if you think maybe you found it at this point, or is the team where you want it to be?
Well, I don't think it was just the team. I think it was the coaches too. I think at times you don't just assess your team, but you have to assess yourselves. And, we talked to the captains and to certain players. I said this maybe 7 games ago, maybe 8, how long was it?
Yeah.
That I met with AD?
Yeah, 7.
Yeah. And, because they didn't look happy. And sometimes it's not always their fault. And sometimes it's you as a coach or a coaching staff, and they weren't having fun. And we listen to our players, and I had not seen faces like that in a while. Not just losing, there was no joy around our program, really. Even me. And then we had a good talk. We had a team talk. We changed practice a little bit, and then all of a sudden, the happiness and joy came back a little bit. And then all of a sudden they started playing with each other more and for each other more and for us more and for me more. And me just taking a chill pill a little bit and believing in them and letting them go. And so sometimes you have to make some changes along the way. About 7 or 8 games ago, we made those changes. And suddenly it clicked. And that was it. It was a meeting, then a team meeting, a couple changes, the way we do practice, and it was a lot more joyful and happy all the way around as players and as coaches. Like now I'm having fun. I want to come to practice where it wasn't a job. And it wasn't just winning because we weren't winning. And we still would lose a game, but it didn't change our mentality, And so now we find ourselves in the last 7, 8 games, a different team. And I attributed a lot to that, and the players speaking up and telling us what they wanted and how they felt, and us making those changes around our program, really.
Any other questions? All set. Have a great night.
Thanks, lady.
Thanks, guys.